Alrighty, hello every folks, good morning, kind of noonish, that kind of whole thing here. Hope everyone's doing well. Didn't really leave a particularly obvious time for when this thing was going to start, so let's kind of go ahead and do this thing, I suppose. Alright, so we're basically just going to be going and doing Coda stuff. Now, I wish that there was a way to get this... Oh, hi there, Maverick. Wish there was a way to get this thing to show up a little bit better, because for some reason when I kind of mouse off of it, the chat disappears. That's not very convenient, I gotta say. Like, I don't know why that would be a feature. It literally just disappears the second I go away. Well, that's a problem. Okay, well, gonna go ahead and try to figure out how to make that not do the whole disappearing thing real quick. Now, let's see, if we just... What if we just do that? Does that work? There we go, that works. That works perfectly fine. Hello to Wolzel and Joshua as well. Hi there, Jim. How's it going? Well, so far just kind of testing to see if everything's working well. Currently it is kind of. It mostly works. Is the sound alright? Sounds hopefully at least half decent right here. Just kind of doing a little bit of Coda temples at the moment. So he's still using a Steam Deck as main PC? Yep, and it is still dang cozy. Really like this thing. Pretty much the most bargain effective laptop I've ever gotten. Not to mention you can keep it in a tiny box. You can get that tiny box out whenever you want to, well, either have a laptop or a gigantic Switch. And yeah, using the deck to stream. Yep. Works perfectly for it. I mean, it's literally just a computer, except you fit it in a little briefcase. And it costs way less than a normal laptop in the same caliber, so there's that. So you just bought Reborn at the summer sale. It was 300 hour-ish in the PSP game, but not finished. Struggling to make the jump over now. Well, it should be a hell of a lot easier to catch up in this version, since you don't have to, well, the catch-up is just way easier in general. You don't have to do any grinds or anything. You can just kind of go through fights. Honestly, minimum level, even under leveled, you're going to still work out pretty decently fine here. Actually, wait a minute. Let's go ahead and give you your powders real quick. Almost forgot to set this guy up for his poison clouds. See, the deck is great. Dang right it is. Honestly, like, I get that they're taking a loss on every single one of these things. I'm still impressed by how good this thing is, like, price-wise and everything. Because yeah, literally, when my laptop died several months ago, when I was going, it's like $400 or $500 to go get an even decent laptop that was comparable to the one that just died. And then in this case, they're like, yeah, it's like, you know, it's like $380-ish, and you know, it also happens to be able to just switch into a game console at any point. Like literally, the only two downsides are a lack of a keyboard and the and which, I mean, basically, if you're setting it up as a PC, you just plug it in, and there you go, you're good to go. It's like a $20 dock, and you're good to go. And the only other downside is memory, which is also easily solved courtesy of Amazon. So you reached Hanging Gardens and Law playthrough, and you're going to get a break from this game, because both Gardens and Palace of the Dead are so long. Oh, yeah, and it keeps on going and going and going. But you know what? It gets... Honestly, when it comes to Palace of the Dead, that's one of those things that I really like about Reborn, though, because they redid the pacing of that entire place. Bear in mind, it's going to be long one way or another, but at least there's some pacing to it this time around. For anyone that did PSP, like, Palace of the Dead PSP was a freaking grueling experience. Like, the if any of y'all watched the level 1 run, level 1 on POTD took like several days just to get the few floors in to go get the cursed weapons to finish that one off. It was just kind of wild. Anyway, let's go ahead and snapify a chicken, I think. By the way, if any of these builds seem extremely weird to you, it's okay. It's okay. We do weird builds around here. The best 400 I've spent on a game console. Yeah, it's so much. It's just so much more than a game thing. Like, ever since the channel started doing a bit more stuff, I've been getting a lot more stream keys or Steam keys and all that kind of thing. Surprisingly, both are used interchangeably every now and then, and I guess technically are both correct. But like, old laptop just couldn't run a whole lot of things. You know, this time around, everything's just running great. Just kind of pop it in there and it's all good to go. I don't have to worry about whether or not it'll meet the requirements, because apparently, you know, Steam just kind of takes care of that for you. It just feels good. You basically get the best of both worlds. You get your PC experience, you get your console experience, and best of all, you don't need to, you know, don't need to invest in a desktop at the same time. Let's see, I've had 2 friends look into me for laptop recommendations. They basically want it for gaming in the same room as their spouse and kids. Steam Deck was an obvious recommendation, especially during the sale. Yeah, it's awesome. Like, legit, all you need to turn it into a PC, because, like, I was expecting way more of a jump when it came to Linux and stuff like that. You have to relearn some names. That's about it. But honestly, as far as just general purpose stuff, it's super easy to just get going. But yeah, as far as the deck goes, like, I think within a few days I was already comfortable with the new terms and all of that for it. Literally all you need is a dock, and you can get those, like, the one that I got was a JSOX dock for like $20 off Amazon. They go on sale for like $15. And all you do is you just plug the original adapter into the back of it. You can put like a USB splitter down the back of it, which I just had an extra one laying around. And that's about it. You just have yourself a full PC setup at that point. I mean, at this point, I even have the mouse and the keyboard on technically 2 different dongles, and it still had enough slots for stuff, so it's all handy. It's all well and good. Did I forget to give her Beast Slayer? Man, I'm doing terribly with all that stuff today. I literally came in here just hoping for that really low chance of a Apocrypha 2, in this case, for the Drumstick Wizard. Let's see, POTD is the main thing that burns me out about the game. It's faster. It's definitely at least faster this time around. There is that. Alright, let's go ahead and petrify this one, I think. There we go. Yeah, and if you're wondering, there's a story behind the Yunin build here I just kind of figured, you know what? His whole thing is about that he wanted to go back and just like fix his mistakes or whatever else. So basically, he's just been given an entire spell load out here. Just he resets time, he supports others. He had that whole experience of not being able to recruit Oshone the first time. So now when it comes to recruiting lizard people, he's all about it. It just felt really appropriate. Let's see, SteamOS is like Windows 7, but Linux. Honestly, I really prefer it to Windows 10 right now. Like, I had Windows 10 on my other 2 laptops, and it's basically the same thing, except you don't have to deal with the constant updates. Well, there are still updates, but they just kind of quietly happen in the background. I can't say everything is exactly perfect or whatever else, but honestly, I've had fewer issues, and when there were issues, almost none of it hasn't been fixed by just resetting the thing, and that was it. It's a pretty darn simple setup. Let's see, how much int or mind on that Yunin? Whatever the hell he came with. This is still the no grind file, so every unit you see is either just hired out of the wild or just basically hired out of the story. I've gone out of my way to try to avoid every single card pickup that there is. Looks like 175, 163 in this case. They're currently locked at 36 for doing this fight the first time. Alright, let's see. We got our 42% on this poison over here. There we go. Let's see, map design sucks. Well, which map, though? Am I dreaming, or is this a... Yeah, well, hello. How's it going, Vale? Yes, it is a proper stream for once. I figured we'd do this, we'd test if everything's working, and if everything, both time-wise and everything else-wise, works out, seeing as the second chunk of that Griffin-only run basically sounded like a stream except with no feedback, we're going to be doing it slightly different and maybe going to be doing the rest of them as those streamy type of dealies, if at all possible. So that's kind of the plan now. Let's see, Tower of Law / Floating Ruins burns me out. You gotta master those debuffs over there. Stuff gets crazy in that place. Like, it's one of those cases where you pretty much permanently want to have, like, a mind control archer at the very least. Just kind of need some means of turning stuff around. It's like a debuff circus in there. It's kind of awesome. So you do have one question about Dragon Stakes, etc. Is that still a thing? Yeah, you can still get Dragon Stakes. They're super expensive, but you can still get them. Dragon Stakes are like 25 grand a pop, I think. I'm gonna have to double check that particular one. So imagine if PvP was possible in this game. Oh, yeah, 100% would love PvP in this one. I've asked the modders on multiple situations at this point if they'd consider it, and apparently the answer was maybe. If it's possible, they might do it. I mean, realistically, how the hell do you balance something like this? Like, it's funny because Reborn kind of has what One Vision had in a way, where they actually properly balanced the main game, but then that also means that PvP is basically out the window. Like, with the original PSP version, believe it or not, it actually was balanced for PvP. It's just that it was balanced on the low end and the maximum end. And then, like, kind of getting to that point was never really considered, I guess. Because you had, you basically had your, well, you basically had everybody just obviously starting off at wherever they were. Everything in the middle took so dang long to get that you realistically wouldn't get most of your skills maxed out by the time you completed even Coda 4. But then if you actually did go and use cheats to fully max everybody out, you actually could wind up with a pretty interesting PvP situation, and that's what all those PvP videos were about last year. That it actually was something that you could do. Also, funnily enough, the Temple Guardians, despite being bosses, can actually be charmed, because they're not actually classed as a boss, because they can randomly spawn, so that's fun. Just kind of a weird little side note. Just kind of throwing that out there. Alright, let's see. In combat in there, I hate. Level design is garbage. That's the thing. I used to think the same thing. It's kind of grown on me over time. It depends, though. Like, some of them, like the three-tiered stair map, frickin' hate that one. The one, like, especially the version with the giant pits in it. But when it comes to, like, the one that looks like a giant, I guess, like, open spa kind of thing, that map's pretty awesome. The one with multiple rooms, depends on which one you start with. If you start off on the left side, sucks ass. If you start off with the ones on the right side, it's actually a pretty darn interesting map. A lot of the kind of open area concepts, I guess you can say, are pretty fun once you get used to them. Let's see. Reborn is balanced until your units gain so much range firepower, and late game bosses die in 2 seconds. Which late game, though? That's also the other thing. Like, it depends which late game we're talking about, because that's, like, if you noticed that last video that was put up, a huge part of that was just due to the fact that everyone's got a different definition for what late game means. Because are we talking, like, late game story, late game, like, end of, Coda-ish, or are we talking about straight-up Coda 4? That's the thing. Which end game are we talking about? Because it is not unusual to get through all of the, story endgame, get into, Coda endgame, Coda 1, 2, 3 endgame, hop into Coda 4, and then you do, like, 1 damage versus Tartaros. So, there's that. It's balanced for you to allow end caps. It's balanced for just kind of messing around. I think that's one of the reasons that I love this dang thing so much. It's just a lot more open than it used to be, and it's really hard to describe how. Alright, let's go ahead and do more time resets. Like, I love how, technically speaking, you have less MP to work with, and yet Paradigm Shift is more viable than it's ever been. What the hell is that, It's just hard to describe the hows and whys over why everything works the way that it does, and why it's so dang fun. But it is how it works. Alright, let's see. It's expensive because you also have to recruit and sell. Yeah, you can actually... Surprisingly, when I was going and doing random recruits this time, I've, like, years of playing the other versions, I have never bothered with recruiting and selling. Now that I've actually kind of gotten more into the flow here with Reborn, I've been doing it as a regular thing, and it feels almost like the intended moneymaker, because it works surprisingly well. Like, I'll just go ahead and attempt to recruit this chicken right here. That's why I have these guys all decked out for maximum chicken recruitment. At least I think I remember to do that. Yes, only 6%, whatever. I mean, just normal Chapter 4, kind of stomping through my knowing cap burn. Oh yeah, no, Chapter 4, you're still in, like, the tutorial, basically. Stuff has not gotten real yet. You'd be surprised how often that actually comes up. It's like, it's literally just the very beginning. It's like, once you get to the point that you are actively afraid of chickens, that's when you know you're in the real end game. Oh, well, I guess that's acceptable. I was hoping for the actual prize here, but whatever. Let's see, Mr. Flapjack, what do we have you do? Do we just snipify this one? Yeah, I think you're just going to go one-shot this one. Ah, man. I love when they do no damage. Pop, pop, pop. There we go. Nothing like 1200 out of a crossbow. Like, that's actually kind of part of the other thing, too. Like, once you get into a lot of the post-game stuff, it's when you start seeing those weird things, like, suddenly you notice that Breach, Fear, Archers, or whatever else are outclassing Summoners in some cases, and, like, just everything changes. Everything, like, in general, just has a completely different meaning behind it. It's interesting. So I forget, what do you get for just Ice Charms? Okay, I was going to see if it was worth no-end capping this one. Totally forgot about that. Whatever, just do that. Do that. Or like those cases where suddenly these renewable heals matter so much more. I love it. But yeah, we'll be doing Coda proper and stuff like that. This is just... This section was mostly for the purpose of just testing stuff out. And then we'll be getting into the real stuff, so to speak. Like going back into POTD and stuff like that. Let's see. Every time I fought Brunton, I was like, I'm probably safe bringing in a low HP Darkcaster right before he'd cast Wisp, and no matter law, neutral, or chaos, I refuse to learn to be smarter. Yeah, he'll do that. He'll do that. Funnily enough, when I was routing the speedrun stuff a little while ago, for some reason I had this idea in mind of like, oh yeah, I need to go get a dark zombie in here, and you know they'll just sit here and they'll repeatedly get themselves trapped, and you know they'll just keep spamming on this repeatedly reviving unit, right? So I'm just thinking I had a galaxy brain moment over there. Anyway, long story short, the witch off to the side has Starfall, so that went well. Let's see, Branton is a check for whether you can deal with fear and summon snipers. Yes. He's like the first barrier, then Dorgy's the second barrier, and then finally you get into Coda and it's like, hi, okay, I hope you're ready to explore some mechanics. Because we're about to have some fun. Would you like to play a game? Alright, let's see. Do we got anything that is water out in that direction? Probably not. Just probably set up and going into an AoE here. That works. So you don't mind new meta for post-game, since the fresh new game is easy. You see people suffering with Zabos, and I'm like, okay, Brand Sacrifice, Breach, get bent. Yeah, Coda is super different. Like, that's the thing. I don't know how to properly convey to a lot of the newer folks, like, just how much game there is in Coda. It's like, you've completed Chapter 4, great, that's like 10% of the game. You've barely gotten started. Like, there's so much back there, you know? And I don't mean, like, yeah, there are going to be some maps that are, you know, that are somewhat samey or whatever else. Like, you got your usual, like, Palace of the Dead, you know, complaints and stuff like that. But if you look at it from a thing over, it's like, just how many different types of challenges there are in there, it can actually turn out to be a pretty darn interesting experience. Let's see, having the Impossible Dark Griffin in retrospect feels like a hint. Like, hey dude, you want a Holy Lightning Rod just for free, you know, just in case something is coming very soon to Holy Summons. That's a really solid point. Also, by the way, actually, before I forget, does anybody happen to know what the deal is with the Dark Fairy rumor? I've heard a few times that there's a Dark Fairy somewhere. I've yet to find one. Like, not 100% sure if that's a thing that exists or what, but I heard a few folks mention that they saw one before. For those that don't know, there's impossible element versions of a lot of the unit types. So, for example, you've got the Dark Cockatrice, or everyone, you know exactly what everyone's going to call the, you know, call that one. You got the Dark Griffin, you got the Ice Lich. I've heard of a Dark Fairy kind of thing, but I don't know if that's actually a thing. If anybody happens to have seen one. See, if true, that's way too subtle. No. That's pretty standard as far as Matsuno games go. Like, here's something that's so subtle, we'll see if you pick it up a decade from now. Again, see how many folks complained about the helmet in Sheridian only giving you one helmet, and I guarantee almost no one picked up on the fact that it was an Ogre Battle 64 reference. So you've never found a Dark Fairy, but if they exist, I'm very interested. Yeah, me too. I've heard there's a Dark Fairy, I've heard there's a Holy Gremlin. Again, I don't know. I have yet to see one, but if they're out there, I want to add it to the collection. Like, right now, I'm literally only completing Coda 2 so that I don't lose the Deneb timeline, so that I can go back in time and pick up the Dark Griffin, add it to the collection, and then go back for the Dark Chicken back on Chaos, because I haven't gotten that far on this particular one. Let's see, Matsuno subtle is too subtle. Yeah, pretty much. It's like it's subtle on the level of you'll figure this out eventually, and I'm not going to tell you anything in the meantime. Let's see. Do we major this? I think we just major this. There we go. Throw that out down that way. See if that's enough to keep everybody ticking. Let's see. Man, I want to play OB64. I heard the ROM is glitchy as F. Oh yeah, it absolutely is. Like, OB64 is glitchy but super charming. Honestly, I'm not sure if the N64 could handle it. It's just constantly freaking out. But again, that's normal. It's a game that you can accidentally overflow the overflow the inventory at any given time and give yourself 100 of any item. It's just... whoops. Whoops, accidentally infinite rare candies. What can I do? Instructions unclear, became God. See, some charms don't work on certain classes. Yep. See, can't the elements be changed via charms anyway? Yeah, so yeah, some of them you can swap around in different ways. Like, for example, if you wanted a... I don't have her on this particular one, but if you wanted, like, let's say a Holy Deneb or something like that, you would switch her over to Cleric and then switch her back, and or switch her to Cleric, switch her to Light, then switch her back, and then that would give you, you know, like a Holy Witch, or Wicca, whatever. One of them kind of deals. But there's some, like, for example, the Griffins can change into the basic elements, but can't be light or dark, except for the one that Andorus brings with him to hunt down clerics. So there's also the Dark Chicken over in the Cressida side quest, who is a zombie, as well as the Ice Lich in Coda. Basically, the Lich that shows up in the normal playthrough. For whatever reason, he just kind of freezes in Palace of the Dead, or not Palace of the Dead, in Pirate's Graveyard, and so he'll just basically end up joining you as ice. So that's amusing. Most of the time, they're kind of a novelty. In the case of the Ice Lich, they can make better use of something like Nature Power, but they lose out. They kind of lose out on some of the other flexibility options because they're kind of locked into that setup because it's their thing. I mean, it depends. You could pretty much make a meta out of frickin' anything. This kind of depends on what you like. That's one of the things that makes team building so dang fun in this game. Let's see, on Wii. Oh yeah, it had Wii on there. Also, if you have a Japanese 3DS, it also was on there apparently. Though I'm not entirely sure. I mean, obviously you can't really get that right now, so that's going to be a point against that if we're honest. Let's go through in this direction. See, there's some very weird translation or censorship choices like an OB64 Wii. Thought playing it again. See, Glamrock is Gramlock, making it the new Granny Blade. Oh, man. By the way, I took a look at that, and I have no freaking clue how you'd get a hold of a ROM of that. Because, like, there's no... I mean, I'd love to see that version, but nobody's posted a ROM of it. So as far as I'm aware, if you happen to have a copy of OB64 on a Wii, that sucker's pretty freaking rare. Wii or Wii U. So just so you know, treasure that thing, never delete it. Let's see. By the way, what's your denim build? I make my TK until Chapter 4. I own Buckner for the Lolas. Pretty much 9 out of 10 times, I'll go ahead and just go Rune Fencer pretty much all game, and then just go nutso with Lord builds. In this particular case, I turn him into basically just a support. So the entire time he's just resetting turns and doing free revives and stuff like that. Let's see. I think everything else is dead on this map, isn't it? Yeah, all right. It's time to simply recruit chickens. We'll just sit, recover, recruit chickens, all of that kind of thing. Collect our loot so that they don't accidentally steal it, because they love doing that. And then we'll go and sell some chickens, I guess. Nothing says that you're a good and honorable person like going into this protected wildlife habitat, stealing all their stuff, and then selling it for food. See, I've been learning Japanese. We'll look into that. Good stuff. Good stuff. Kind of considered doing that at some point, but realistically speaking, I have a partial knowledge of 3 languages I've started and never finished learning, so I'm not sure how realistic that is. So you have the Virtual Console version of SMA 4, SMA 3. I wonder if the VC version of OB64 is floating somewhere. Maybe, but it's like the thing is, it's just so obscure. Like, why would anybody kind of go out of their way to dump this ROM where they realistically probably don't know that there were any differences? Like, honestly, until Vale pointed it out, I probably wouldn't have noticed them either, because I've only played through it a few times. It's been like 3-4 times at this point, but still. Let's see. What are you doing? You're just healing. So you don't let your chickens see the stream? Funnily enough, they're right over there. I did promise that one of these days I would just bring a chicken and carry it with me for a stream or something. But I don't... Actually, I think this thing has a camera. I honestly don't know. let's see. Where are my dudes? You're one of the dudes. You're one of... Okay. I'm just going to paradigm shift over here. Paradigm shift these guys. There we are. That's going to accomplish absolutely nothing. Fantastic. Let's see. Fun thing about dusting off the Wii was seeing my husband's save file. I was on the 64 secret level in case friends visited and wanted to play it for themselves. I still have yet to see that. Sounds like a thing to look up at some point. I think I saw a stream from, what's their face that did the speedrun a few years ago? I don't remember right now. Don't remember their name. They did a speedrun, but I think they actually might have stopped for the secret level on that one. Alright. Man, they are petrified for absolutely ages over there. What the hell is that about? I mean, I will say going into this particular map was some of the most unlikely recruit non-luck pretty much I've seen in a hot minute here, so we might just go ahead and finish all these chickens and call it good enough. Because I only came here for one drop, I didn't get it. Not really a whole lot of point in just continuing this on. We're planning to go see some Coda, dang it. Right. Right, you just keep on healing, I suppose. Because literally all we're doing is sitting here and waiting. Let's see, found it. Wait, are you serious? Hey, if you found it, go on the Discord. Go ahead and feel free to post it there. Definitely wouldn't say no to that. Alright. Mr. Aylmer, would you like to not be a statue? You've been petrified for, like, I don't know, 8 rounds now? Maybe chill out on that a little bit? Let's see, obviously can't... I mean, again, you can post the link somewhere. Feel free to go do that on the Discord. I think PSP traumatized me so badly I couldn't bring myself to use Boon of Swiftness anymore. Why is that? All of the fairies, or what? Right, look at this guy. He's finally bothering to show up to the fight that he was hired here for. Alright, we're just gonna do one more attempt to hire each. Okay, no, you are now mincemeat. That's a shame. Moving on. Some battles that start off with the same buff warm-ups. Oh. Fair enough, fair enough. Alright, you're not really gonna do anything. You are just gonna make one more attempt to recruit this chicken. If the chicken doesn't join, you know what you're doing. And we're making mashed chicken nuggets. Fantastic. And I love how much shields do in this version. I'm gonna legitimately just, Oh, nope, nope, nope. Can't have that. No cards. No cards on the save file, dang it. Pop. Okay. Let's see if the Beast Tamers get one more crack at this. They do not. Alright, somebody just... I guess... Okay, they're close enough that they can just walk over and recruit this guy at least once. It's at least worth a shot, you know? I think that's maybe Folk. He's one of the archer guys that's moving next, and they're almost back at their same rounds, and then we'll finally be done with this map, and we'll move on to proper Coda stuff. Alright. As you do. As you do. Because, yeah, originally the purpose of the save file was just to see how stuff would look if the game was sort of played as intended, so we're, like, not using any charms, we're not using any kind of money exploits, we're not doing any of that. It's kind of every unit at their basest possible form and like how they function in all of these different areas, and it's been absolutely fantastic. I do love shield slaps with clerics. Dang right. Also, these guys are not having it, so they're also not having life. That's a shame. Moving on. And actually, one thing that you'll see when the Griffin only run comes out, or at least the second part of it, or the second game of it, I should say. I literally have 2 of them just sitting there. So it turns out that the recruit rules are very different in the original SNES version. So completely forgot about that. So that was a bit of a fun discovery. Anyway, let's see. Before we go into there, let's go over here, pick up some more supplies, because I totally forgot to do so. Alright. And then we'll go and do POTD and Coda 2 and all of that kind of sumsuchery. Got armors over here. Should have some extra helmets and crap to sell. Basically your sell fodder piles, as they do. Apparently sorcerers just lose their robes all the time. Brigandines just frickin' everywhere. Alright. Let's go down to sundries, go down to restocks. I love that you can actually, that it actually will pick from that pending pile. Like the the stuff that you can't actually normally buy extras of, that it actually knows that it can properly interact with that pile. I know it's a very specific detail, but still, it's just nice to see. Next up, do I have an extra Capito? Maybe. It's like the one thing I would change about the crafting is that you would be able to change crafting these crystals immediately, so you don't have to do all this extra stuff. Alright, let's just give you one of these. There we go, change that one. And then we'll change this one, we'll go over to the ice crystals, and go ahead and make a second Ixcamilies, so that I have some extras of these laying around. Right. Actually, probably one more mind control bow just for the hell of it, because you can never have too many of these, is the thing. Alright, let's see. What's the point of accessories that raise weapon proficiency? Partially extra damage, partially defense against those weapons, and partially, like here, just to look these over real quick, like, if you made one of these things, gives you a small health boost, gives you the same attack and defense boost as many of your other rings, but it gives you a weapon skill bonus, which basically allows you to overrank your normal skills, which does help with your basic attack situation a little bit, but it also gives like a 50% damage boost to shots. They go pretty nutty with these things. And then additionally, you have 5% resistance against pretty much everything damage-wise on the resistance side of things. Meanwhile, over here with the chokers, they basically will give you a free rank of not quite insight, but basically they'll be just enough to throw you over thresholds a lot of times. So like I was going to make one right here. Let's just go ahead and get one of these made. There we go. Let's go ahead and make a choker so that I could free up a skill slot on my cleric here. So like the useful thing on these things is like right here, she's currently set up in such a way where if she gets knocked out and revived, which again for the folks that are going into doing all of your no incap runs and stuff like that, those have been turned off for the post game. It basically, because it's trying to tell you something like no in-cap runs go to die in Coda. Let's see, are they good versus getting more stats? It depends on the situation here. So like for example in her case, she's currently using a thing of insight over here to push her past the 400 threshold, because when she's revived she's getting 25% back. In her case, I can now swap this out for a Petrify, because one of her current weaknesses is that she constantly gets her ass kicked by chickens. So like I said, endgame is very deliberate about letting you know to fear the chickens. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and swap it out for this to give her an extra 15 MP, and we're also going to see about swapping out some of her other pieces of equipment to once again just boost her MP a little bit. So we're going to switch out that Holy Crown to give her a hat, which will then push her just above 400, which will now mean that she no longer needs skill cards, although it will help her out. But now, she's resistant to chickens, she's just above 400. If she's revived, like let's say right now the way that I have this set up is that I have Denim over here, essentially just serving as backup, where he's using Conserve RT and Conserve MP, along with First Aid and Phalanx, to just kind of sit back, be immortal, and be like, you're coming back to life, you're coming back to life, you're coming back to life. And in his particular case, like if everyone's fine, he's just paradigm shifting. If someone's down, he's resurrecting. If somebody needs help, he's major healing. If there's death chickens, there's ease. So in his case, basically he's combining in with that cleric, where the cleric gets knocked down, he revives the cleric, there's now one extra target, but the cleric can also revive somebody else, just kind of allowing to spread those revives out through the team, so to speak. Anyway, let's see. Let's see, using a skill weapon or skill earring with natural skill ranked is a good shot for lobbering shots. Yeah. So like, where was he right here? Not Blintz, not you. Aylmer, where are you at? I keep changing his element to decide what he's going to be better with. But like, for example, with him right here, I have a Stalker Earring here. It improves his penetration slightly with the Elemental Shortbow over here, just due to like weapon skill getting you past defenses a little bit better. But that's kind of more of a niche case as compared to him carrying 2 shots, which are pretty much guaranteed going to do like 500-600 when they're thrown now. Let's see, what do you mean no in-cap is disabled in Coda? I mean, like, you know how you get the title for doing no in-cap for the main story? You know how there isn't another one for doing no in-cap for Coda? That's because it would be a completely masochistic kind of thing to ever pull off. It's not that you can't, and realistically, you can do it. It's just a super slow process to do it there. Let's see. No problem. It's a floor that has 2 fights. One is a story, one's a special. You can usually tell which one by the drops, but it all has... Okay. Let's see. Honestly, hope mods can add skills or classes. It'd be cool to give clerics Slobber again. I mean, they don't really even need them, to be honest. They're already pretty busy. Honestly, this cleric rarely gets a chance to rest. I have her and Burb 2.0, wherever the hell he's sitting at right now, which I probably should make him a necklace too. Or Health Pidgey, rather. Burb 2.0 died, I think. Actually, come to think of it, I should probably... let's see... Because, like, that's... Just to mention this, by the way, weird detail, but that's one of the weird downsides of Garb of Sages, is it's got one of the lowest MP bonuses between the different robes. So it gives you pretty much nothing to actually switch over to it, whereas something like the Radiance over there, or the darker ones, will give you slightly more, just putting you slightly closer to pushing over the edge here. Which, actually, I probably should go make more Baldur's Shields in this case. Yeah, I think I'm going to do the same setup for him. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here, going to go craft, going to go make some more Baldur's Shields. Give me like, oh jeez, them suckers are expensive. So that sucks. Anyway, do I have one of these yet? No, do it anyway. We're probably never going to use it. And or I think the guy that did use it might have gotten thrown off a cliff at some point. Unclear. But if that's what happened, that's what happened, you know? Things will occur like that. Let's see. Need any of these things? Probably not. Oh, right, I can't make these anymore. Recently had gone and gotten a Heaven Fork, so we're going to be doing some Heaven Generals, too. Does anybody remember which one's on floor 25 of POTD? Like, I want to say it was the... I know Spear Lady is up in... Sambronza. I know Bow Lady's up there. I want to say Earth Sword guy is in the woods. Katana Lady's also in Sambronza. I know Ice Axe guy is in late POTD. Anybody remember what the floor 25 guy is? Let's see. Honestly, hope... oh yeah, you already said about the skills. But yeah, as far as skills go, I mean, technically speaking, it depends on which ones you mean. Because practically the only things that actually got taken out are going to be things like Barricade or whatever else, which there are other skills that do the same thing. It's just they had like Barricade, they had different versions of Barricade. Apparently the different classes used a different flavor of Barricade technically. You had a Jack-o'-lantern, and then the abilities to eat a Jack-o'-lantern, which was just... If anybody can show me one person that ever used that outside of One Vision, I think you might have found a unicorn. Let's see. That's why all my units have wing boots and monsters have wing rings. Understandable. Definitely a solid way to do it. Alright, here, let's make some suchery here. First of all, make one more of these robes just to get that extra MP. And get that little bit of extra resistance. Next up, go to the ingredients. Go make one of them shiny lady crystals. And that's basically going to burn through all our crystals at this point. And then go make another choker. Should I equip a completely different one? Yeah, probably. Also, I should probably go ahead and auction off that dragon. Because I just picked up one of these. Oh wait, you're Ice. Although, it's funny because his name is Loud Ice. Seems pretty quiet to me. And it'll probably be very quiet coming soon. Let's change you over to not one of them things, but one of them things. Get us an orb. Let's see, the Evil Staff, Heavenly General is the main of my zombie AI team. Let's see, 77 for Ashura. I was trying to remember where the Sagara guy is, though. Let's see, I remember one in floor 25. General in Pirate's Graveyard is Daggers. Staff Fist, one of the swords are in late POTD. And I know axes are too. The Dragoon and Knight Generals. Like, I know I remember it being a... I want to say, wasn't it Terra Knight that had the Sagara? Where can I get shift stones for the guides? You can go through either story fights, or you can just kind of randomly find them as rewards as you go through. I want to say Pirate's Graveyard did some of them, didn't they? See, sometimes wish you could equip all your skills on any class like an FFT and make some funky builds and hybrids. That's what the Ogre Blade is for. So he's on the left second side path down from 75 to 100. 89 for Sagara. Okay, we're just going to go skip straight to that one then, because I have one fork at the moment and I want it for the Sagara. Alright, let's go ahead and sell some more stuff real quick. Yeah, like, it doesn't matter running this over a decade, I still have no clue where the Heaven Generals are. I know vaguely where they are, but as far as extreme specifics over who does what, where, when, it's one of those things you just rediscover every time you play it through, you know? Alright, I think that's enough for an orb. Can we craft it? Alright, apparently not. Okay. Let's go ahead and sell a couple more things then. Surely I have some leftover weapons here. Somewhere. Just basically looking for anything that I've got more than 10 extra of. Or will it... I think it might actually not bother buying them for the purpose of the crafting recipe here. Not sure. Anyway, let's go down here. Oh, I'm just stupid. I forgot to auction him. That would help. That's the secret. Stop being a dumbass. Okay. The Ogre Blade lets generics permanently access Angel, Lich, Warrior, Juggernaut, Terror Knight, Dragoon skills no matter their class. Yep. Okay. So I probably could have avoided selling some stuff there, but now we go ahead and craft the extremely expensive necklace. Hope you're happy, bird. But also, I'm just really tired of having them get petrified all the time, so we're going to deal with that problem. Now, it doesn't directly solve the problem itself. It's just that around this point, like, there's few moments where stuff genuinely falls off. But when it comes to clerics, like especially career-long clerics, along with their stuff, this is legitimately a point where they start running into a bigger problem over cockatrices coming in and just repeatedly petrifying them for extended periods of time, rather than having issues with being able to hit stuff with sticks. They've already got a hard enough time keeping everything running, let alone trying to keep up with using sticks on everybody. That being said, I also need some more MP boosts. Actually, I don't think this is even going to work on him, now that I'm looking at it. Like, he's probably going to... He actually will need insight in his case. I guess we're just going to get rid of Mercy and hope that everything just works out great. Bummer, but oh well. Again, they're kind of there to just fill in the gap. It isn't going to work all the time, and in fact, I know who I need to use this on. Let's, I got a better use for it. So let's give you your Vitality. Like in this case, switching him over to Vitality would just be a better option. We're going to keep that Resist Petrify on him, but we're going to go ahead and make this right here. So, to show off this little thingy, if you didn't know, I assume most know this by this point, but if you want just weird elements of stuff, like we're just going to go ahead and make Holy Deneb here. She's just gone to the convent and changed her ways, I guess. We're just going to go ahead and Light Charm her here. There is a reason that I'm doing this, by the way. There's a legitimately good point behind doing this. Not for damage, but just for the purpose of drawing, well, specifically drawing aggro in specific ways. Like, if you set up something like a witch or something like that, and you've got a situation like where you can basically just put them slightly off to the side and give them a stinky set or something and redirect aggro in that direction, it can be really helpful. Anyway, in her case, though, we're just kind of going to be using this stuff to try to mitigate incoming critical hits and all that. Give her Garb of Sages and Holy Crown to be a bit more, resilient and all of that kind of thing. And then we're going to abuse the hell out of some of her other abilities here. Do we go Whip build on her? Because I already have a solid Whip build. I don't necessarily need another one, but we could cheese Witch's Smile, I think. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go Weapon and Shield. I'll probably go for the 300 staff in her case. And go Shield on her, just go full defensive, go Witch's Smile. I'll probably go... Like, she can't access any of these, so it's not going to be a offense thing. Go Paradigm Shift, go Charm, go Poison. She's going to be a walking embodiment of a toxic relationship. She's going to go and steal the health right out of somebody, going to go and make everything all poisonous, going to charm everybody, going to make time disappear. Items over Clerics. Oh, then you kind of need to experience Coda some more. Let's see, wish Rune Fencer could equip 2H swords. Why? Because it would make for an awesome-looking mage commander, like a strength arc character from Bloodborne wielding the Moonlight, or Holy Moonlight Blade. I mean, that's what Lord is for. Like, at that point, you just go and, let's say, you go over here, you give them something like a Moonblade or whatever else. You go and give them... Actually, no. They would have to run the whip, you know? Because just tell me that Armageddon doesn't look like whatever the hell that one, like, tentacle ability is. I mean, hell, we have that on casual right now. We're gonna look into that in just a sec. Alright, so, I think we're all good to go. I'm probably forgetting something. Screw it. We'll do it live. Well, we got this. Whatever it is. Alright. Alright, let's see. Beat the game and save POTD for law, but it's up to you. There's not really a wrong answer. POTD gets easier the more you do. Yeah, POTD is interesting. It's like, it's basically a straight jump. Like, from floors 1 to 25 are basically just going to give you a bunch of kind of neat movement rings and give you a bunch of, like, little crafting materials and things like that, especially crescent bows. It seems like a weird thing to point out, the crescent bows, but they were, like, a super missable item back in PSP. Now you get a bunch of them, and way more common. But anyways, so you get a bunch of those bows, and later you can turn those into Cupid bows for your mind control bows, and then also your offhand, kind of like a short bow, like elemental short bows and stuff like that. But then 26 through about 50-ish, that's when you get all your crafting books. Like, they just dump them on you at that point. And then once you get up to about 70 to 75, wait, I didn't mean to. I meant to tell it to use the book. Okay. Skip it. And yes, use the Palace Guide. Let's see, forgot about the shop. You may want to hop down to 24 to 25, farm wing rings, and buy 10 of every spell in the shop. Yes, those spells do a lot of good goodies and all that. Anyway, we're at 26 now. And we'll go ahead and skip the cutscene real quick. You can go down to 50. Yes, I don't mind if I do. But yeah, you can use the shortcuts the first time around, or rather your second time through Palace of the Dead this time, so you don't have to go back through Palace of the Dead an entire second time if you set up early. Like, the amount that they improve the flow of this area is ridiculous. Alright, where the hell's 89? We are looking to suffer. Where's the suffering at? Okay, suffering is down. Yeah, now I remember it. Now I frickin' remember it. Like, I know I ran into this guy before. Okay, it's coming back. It's coming back. Alright, let's go ahead and save it real quick and let the suffering begin. Alright. Let's see, sure, Lord can do that, but I want to do that with my original generics do not steal trademark. Let's see. I mean, you could still do... Let's see. I need to do POTD and FF14 and want Firecrest access. I suppose that would do it. Hold on, I'm trying to remember who I had as a warrior here. Sorry, I'm kind of brain farting here real quick. I think I had... Where are you at? Yeah, Calcium King. So, let's say we want to do that on generics. I mean, obviously, the whip thing, like, we already had the whip in Bloodborne. The Armageddon finisher looks just like a Bloodborne spell there. As far as gear goes, I mean, if we run warrior... What else runs whip that might be able to equip more of a coat robe kind of deal? Because, I mean, Buccaneer probably would do the trick, but we're kind of splitting hairs at that point. So we can't quite get the coat. Because you need a proper long coat to get the real Bloodborne experience, you know? So either way, we'll just give them some armor or something. We'll just say, you know what, no, they alluring corset. So we go, like, alluring, top and bottoms. So we got that all figured out. As far as the hat goes, figuring glistening helm looks a lot like that eye helmet, that cage thing, you know? So we got that there. As far as the shoes go, I mean... You basically need the she shoes. You got your whatever the hell is that, like, the bow and dodge thing. So we got that right there. Spark Guard feels. I mean, honestly, Spark Guard feels appropriate because it would let you run on lava, which technically wouldn't be Bloodborne. It would be more Dark Souls, but still, you know, it's kind of cool. Actually, no, Grease String, because you got that one bit where you're going and fighting the spider, and you go fight Rom. You know, there you go. There we go. We already got all that covered. So there you go. I mean, this guy's basically already Bloodborne'd up for you. As far as Vigorous and applying debuffs, it works pretty well. Cursed Whip works especially well because it's all evil and removes max health, so it kind of works there. Probably couldn't have Steadfast just on principle, because you'd need to be able to get knocked back. But Double Impact, Mighty Impact, you know, it's basic, but it would work. Probably just use orbs for the spells. You're still using consumables, so again, still Bloodborne appropriate, you know? That works. Alright, let's see. So many team members, only have about 40 or so, including story characters. Oh yeah, I like to recruit everything I see. Let's see, we got 2 dragons, we got some casters, we got a fairy. Oh shoot, I forgot to... Oh man. I don't think I ever even put up that video, did I? I did a video of random San Bronza advice, and I wasn't happy because I couldn't get all the advice that I wanted to out of it. Anyway, Steve died, so Steve the fairy got friggin' eaten by a bird, so there's that. Let's see. Bayan as Old Man Phalanx Knight, and it says... oh, no. Bayan as... Bayan over here is running Rune Fencer. It was the only appropriate thing. Like, this dude looked like he needed his shorter range from PSP, so I just made him into a Rune Fencer. Why not? Actually, we're going to probably just leave him on this team. We're going to want some heavier hitters. We're not necessarily going to need Yunin here. Eleanor... No, I'll put you aside for now. Let's see. We're going to need Denim in here. We're going to want Denim and our Cleric. They're going to go back here. Wreck is all well and good. Let's see. Folk, I kind of want to switch you back out for your... What kind of bows do we got on hand right now? Sentinels will be good versus dragons. Thunderbow is good versus lizards. That actually could work pretty well here. So we're just going to go switch out for bows on you. We're not really going to have a whole lot in the way of time for lining up expensive shots. We're just going to do something like this. So that works well enough there. We'll put you over in this direction. Elrig is going to stay. He's got to revive. Flapjack, we can temporarily put away. Bayan is... Oh, who are we kidding? He's going to get annihilated. You don't really get experience here. Put the 2 Beast Tamers aside. Put a... Yeah, we're going to want Terra Knight in here. Maybe just 2... Actually, no, we're going to run Stealth Kashua. So, this is the one that I was talking about with the whip. You can run, like, a Stealth Whip build over here. Basically just spamming Armageddon all day. It's good stuff. Alright, let's see. What else? Squash Thrust. Yeah, we're gonna abuse how broken the Songstress is, too. Alright. Let's see, the max is 100, and the game only has maybe 50, 60 special characters, so you get a lot of room to play around with. Yes, and you can actually use all the story characters this time around. Friggin' PSP with its, like, 50 limit. Alright, so you're probably not familiar with FF14. It has a POTD as a deep dungeon, and you're clearing floor 200 to get either a Glass Pumpkin or Crest of Fire to turn items, or to turn into items for your character. Out of curiosity, how does the Crest of Fire work in that one? Because I'm a little bit surprised to hear that the Fire Crest made it into other stuff for legal reasons. I mean, it was originally a reference to, hey guys, we copied a genre that the Fire Emblem technically started, and then we're just going to proceed to surpass it, like, decades before the series goes off the rails. But yeah, no, I'm familiar with it being there. I know that it ends with Nibith as well. I always found it funny that when I was looking it up, the Nibith cutscene is one of the only impossible angles that Nibith never shows up at. Let's see, FF14 has a lot of Ogre Battle stuff these days. Love that Obdan, Berta from Reborn are there too, and Game's daughter. Yeah, I heard that they added something like that. I didn't realize he ever even had a daughter. He's kind of implied to just sort of be married to his job. I mean, maybe some questions are better left not asked. Let's see. Just gonna whip over here. We'll get her started and all built up here. It's explicitly an exchange item, and items are only for transmog. I don't know what that means, but I'll take your word for it. Alright. Okay, those Charmods are gonna suck. Her stuff hasn't quite activated yet, so we'll just go ahead and get Rick upgraded over here. I meant to actually send the other guy in here. Ah, well. Yeah, this isn't really the best Thunderbow or anything, but it'll do the job. We can get some wackier stuff going later. In her case, she's going to want some cards for MP. You're going to go ahead and hit some stuff. Bop. There we go. And... oh yeah, I forgot to put Health Pidgey in the team, didn't I? Shame. Okay, whatever. Just go ahead and hammer away at this one for the time being. He's only got the basic summons here. We've got the more advanced ones on the team. I just kind of forgot to bring them. Oh well, this will be good enough. For the time being, though, we'll definitely drop accuracy on this dragon, though, because I don't feel like dealing with their nonsense right now. And probably go ahead and dodge up and head in this direction for you. Probably shouldn't burn through as many items, because this is a pretty nothing fight. Alright. Firecrest, it's a lawn decoration. Okay, I love that. Oh, that's awesome. That just feels perfect. Also, I love how the one guy that I was resetting time for there is the only one that didn't roll. Oh well. Oh well. Alright. Lich does the Lich thing. Probably can just go for an AoE splash here. And he just gave his MP away. Good job. Is this going to be enough? No, but you know what will be? Explosions. Hello. Oh, wait. He's not running a skill, is he? Alright, he's on... Alrighty then. Fantastic. Need to get that skill rank up a little bit. See, if only Ogre Tactics had Prinnies. I mean, that's basically Pumpkinheads. They also self-destruct. They also are a mascot. They also have weird labor disputes with witches. I mean, is it really that different? So you do that all in Disgaea? See, story characters go away. Only generic number 33 will save the world. To be fair, the amount that generics can easily overpower story characters in this one is kind of hilarious. Like, I don't know how many folks watch the whole Lich versus Shaman thing, but it's just like the speed to which the ramp goes up for something like a Lich, where like just by sheer account of being a generic unit that they have access to something like the Ogre Blade and whatnot, just basically ramps up their, I guess you could say, like, power per hour to such a degree that it's not even funny. Like, for the same amount of effort that it takes to unlock the Shaman, it's barely more effort to create a, just, like, Lich with double their natural stats. It's weird like that. It happens. Let's see. The option of being married to your job depends on the job. Beast Tamer. Oh, no. True. Some things are better left not thought about. And yeah, some of these guys, once they get their skills up, like, I feel like early on, like, maybe ranks 1 to 10, they only give you a certain amount, and then past that, they give you a lot more. Let's see, weakest Prinny beats the strongest Lotus Soldier, and the funny thing is that I'm not joking. I mean, I can believe that. They're pretty darn overpowered. Alright. Though, to be fair, Lotus has been shown to have some complete jobber soldiers over the course of the series. I mean, the only time that the invasion goes well is when they decide to make peace with some mermaids. Every single other time, they just get curb stomped by the locals, and most of the time, those locals are farmers. So, Lotus is Russia, you know, prove me wrong. Anyway. Let's see. By the way, this is why I love cudgels, and specifically cudgel finishers. Bop, bop, bop. You can do big meaty numbers with fear. Like, Cudgel Terror Knight is fan-frickin-tastic. Like, that spike where, like, as soon as their lament goes off, you just know you're destroying something. Feels good, man. Feels good. Alright, we're gonna pick up the Fizz card on Keshwa, who cannot be targeted, by the way. For anyone unfamiliar with what the deal is with the Stinky set, she literally cannot be targeted unless she's either in the AoE of a splash move or is going to be the last unit on the field. Neither of which are going to be things that are happening. Alright, let's see. This Prinny I made in Disgaea, he had every single magic in the game and had 40 million in stats. Yeah, there's really no limits to them games. Funnily enough, that's actually one of those things that always kind of scared me away from them. It's like, as soon as you start realizing just how far the rabbit hole goes, it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna touch that. And yes, I realize that's coming from, you know, this whole situation. Also, I forgot to pick up any cards on you, didn't I? I guess you might need some of those. Let's go pick up one of these right here. Let's see, hey, a farmer killed Gerald of Rivia. Never underestimate the pitchfork. True. Or any of, what's his face? a British guy, a Spiff Brett, I think was his name, a Spiffing Brett or whatever. It's like 90% of their challenge runs that involve any kind of RTS game whatsoever involve abusing peasants. Because somehow they're always overlooked. That's great. So there's that. Alrighty. As that guy continues to beat somebody with a violin, it's violence. Alright, let's see. What kind of numbers can we get all wacky out of you? Barely anything. That's a real shame. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I mean when I say that stats kind of stop mattering as opposed to context later on. So you get to these moments where, like, objectively, Murden has way higher stats than everybody there, but due to just the way effective hits work, he's doing, like, half as much as some of the other ones. Like, random Divold with a Damask Mace is doing better than him with a Euros. But if he had, if he had an advantage, he would end up shining that much more. So I did watch your deep dive on Reborn Terror Knights. It's underwhelming on PSP, though he's a pivotal member of my team. One-handed hammer and lobber. Terror Knight is the best healer. Yeah, they were weird in PSP because they were scared of giving them too much power, but then in that process they just made them hyper weak. Just like defensively speaking, it was really hard to keep them up to scratch because they had too many things that they needed to boost at the same time. Whereas in Reborn, they're like, okay, they're going to have one obvious weakness. It's okay, we can take the gloves off. Like, they can be allowed to move at a speed faster than a continent. So, like, they're not only way faster, they're way more defensive. They finally get the ability to synergize their skills right. It's just good stuff. Alright. Let us do something like this. Just whackify this dude. Using the TK to fear and enfeeble isn't triggering. Yeah, and it's nice because it just allows you to swap between them, It is the good stuff. Right, now we got Popper 406. I mean, yeah, we can probably get that one with anything. Fairy's going to resist it reasonably well by the looks of it. Then again, we can knock this guy into poison, which might be pretty handy. Might keep him out of the fight a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. Alright. But yeah, it's like this focus on taking kind of short, decisive actions just feels really good in this version. Oh, and by the way, part of the reason, for those that don't know, as to why the Cudgel wrecks this guy so hard is just due to the fact that every Cudgel finisher is classed as Divine. So this guy will hit harder on both Dark and Divine, because he is personally Dark and his finishers are all Divine, so whichever one is higher, it'll just swap in for. So he basically covers a quarter of unit types, just for hitting with his wacky stick, and for everything else, there's stun. So, feels good. Let's see, interested to play the proccing fear moves instead of TP based? Yeah, it feels good. Plus you can guarantee them, plus they're free. Like, you can just do a lot of stuff with it. Feels good. By the way, also, out of curiosity, can anybody hear that? Like, the horrible squeaking of this chair that's on its very literal last legs? I don't know if that's coming through super loud or if it's a non-issue. Let's go Vile Wound to this guy. Unfortunately, didn't poison, but we can go ahead and go over here and block all of these guys from moving in this direction. See, when it comes to Palace of the Dead maps, there are a lot of them that I really do appreciate the design of. Because I wanted to take a look at this right here, as soon as this one's done turning off their ability that takes forever. They're gonna pop their thingy, whatever. We're gonna kill them off in just a second. Due to how good the Songstress is, Palace of the Dead is basically free. Anyway, so let's go ahead and look at this real quick, right? So right over here, you usually will start off in the middle or some variant thereof, but whether you're starting here, here, or here, you've got interesting map layouts. Like right here, it's realistically only one tile that's blocking off this entire region, and all of this is a way slower slope to go through. Meaning agile units get more of a chance to get through, but everybody else will get bogged down. If you take these two tiles with a golem, for example, or for example, you just stick two units right here, you can block off this entire section off by itself. If you're coming from this side, basically means you can take flyers, or you can potentially block off this side, funnel them off into this way. Or if you're coming from here, you can use these statues over here to go and, kind of funnel stuff this way, but they're also blocking you due to that same statue, causing you to go around those poison tiles. Technically speaking, they don't always necessarily, make a huge difference on their own, but they do also affect your footing and stuff like that. So sometimes it's worth considering stepping on one of these tiles, because you have a harder time getting knocked back in water, interestingly enough, in Reborn. Anyway, just a bunch of random little details, but I just really appreciate the design of some of these. Alright, in his case, he's just going to go and collect more auto cards, because there's not really anything for him to do as of yet. Just kind of sit around. Oh, hi there, Exile. Or Matt, I should say. Let's see, my own creaking chair is much louder to me. Yeah, I guess we all got the creaky chair, don't we? Gotta sound off for all the sad creaky chairs out there. See, investing in a decent office chair makes all the difference. I've seen my steel case leap chair for over 7 years with no issues. See, in my particular case, I've got, let's see, I think a $15 on sale clearance Meyer brand. Just a generic chair, or actually it might have been from Sam's or something. I actually have a way better chair that I used to use that's over there that's like a proper like executive office chair or something like that. But my wife's butt was hurting one day, and basically I was just saying, here you go, try this chair, and she found it comfortable, and long story short, I now have this chair. So that's how marriage works. Anyway, I joke, but like realistically speaking, it was entirely my idea to hand over the chair. But anyway. So, let's see, you could use some healifying, I think. Kind of just basic heal tick over here, whatever. See, I was very impressed with POTD maps first time played too. See, like, again, like some of them are definitely better than others, but it is kind of interesting to see the design, kind of the design here. And what's funny is you can tell which ones are better, because it's usually these ones that came from PSP that are specifically the better ones. Like a lot of these kind of corner maps and stuff like that, you didn't see as many of them in back in the original, whereas this time around they're just going to be a decent bit more prevalent. Here, let's see, what am I doing here? Going for this guy. So like, just to point this out, like let's say a lot of these rando kind of smaller corner maps, big staircase maps, all of that kind of thing. It's not that they weren't in SNES, it's just that for some reason they wouldn't spawn a good bit of the time, and a lot of the times they were just extremely sloggy in PSP just because of how slow that it could be. Like, a lot of the maps just took absolutely ages, and God forbid you try it at level 1 for some reason, because you are going to be there killing everything with poison for about 3 hours per fight. But then we get into cases like, you know, this one right here, where, you know, we get to see a lot more kind of interesting ideas come to mind in terms of the actual design of the place. Here, let's probably go take out the fairy with you, because there's a card right here. I'll try to point out more of those as we go along, because this is like a minor, fairly quick example. I like this map in terms of its overall speed and whatever else. But like, especially the big one where you get swarmed by the birds, I love that one. I mean, it gives a challenge every single time, but it's just freaking awesome. Like, you're just there on a plateau, just this swarm of birds coming your way. They all get empowered right before they hit you. Like, just A+ in terms of design there. I love it. Okay, let's go for aggressive rendition here, just for the sake of avoiding his counterattack and getting a little bit of extra skill on this guy. I doubt we're going to get any particularly useful relics. I'm not really counting on that here. But I'm thinking we probably just go ahead and health leech this guy slightly. Attempt to get in a range to do some fear and all of that. But like the pacing of POTD, I love the pacing. This time around anyway. Like, as much as I like the idea of the randomized dungeons in SNES, as far as I'm aware, there aren't even any mods that end up properly causing it to spawn all of the maps. Like the big kind of cubicle map was there. I believe actually the staircase map might have been there too, like the big grand staircase one. A lot of the gigantic multi-room... Oh, sorry, accidentally hit the mic there. A lot of the gigantic multi-room maps were there, but they just never spawned. You'd see them maybe 10% of the time, and even then it basically was pointless because they still came in with 4 units, and you came in with 10. And realistically, the only way that went is that they either one-shot you or you annihilated them, you know, with Draconics from a million miles away. It either was an instant kill or an instant win. It's, you know, it needed some help, but hey, this was back on the SNES. They were doing their best. Let's see, just beat Roderick. Just had to send everyone in with Nerf bats and let Warren do the work. I'm surprised that worked, to be completely honest. Actually had one Lord build I was planning to do a video on recently about just basically making like a knight with all free abilities. Just like First Aid, Phalanx, Guardian Force, Conserve MP, and then just double shields. Like the only way to save Warren. Let's see. Saw your tier list and archers are S tier. Did they get a massive improvement in Coda? Because right now I have no use for them. Game asking me to deploy archers, but I literally have no reason to. So archers are a bit of a interesting thing. It depends on how you use them. So archers are, like, they technically speaking, they're going to have some of the highest damage potential in the game. But that's the thing. They have the highest potential, but they have a low entry point. That is to say, like, if you affect defenses in any way, their numbers go nuts. So, like, if you're, for example, running Terror Knights or something, you just run a Terror Knight forward, they hit something with fear, you shoot it with a bow, they're easily going and taking that, like, half that thing's health off now. Like, they're a team player. It's one of these cases where it's more a case of using all of them as a team together. Like, a Breach and a Fear combination will essentially see anything practically nearly instantly die to arrows. While they do get a power boost like everything else in the endgame, I forget if I did any proper videos on how good longbows could be during the speedrun. But like using lobber breaches into longbows was basically a huge chunk of how the speedrun worked. Let's see, a wall build. Where at? Oh, you mean with Elrig over there? Yeah, he was originally rocking sword and crossbow, but then I got really tired of him getting hit by Petrify, so we subbed in the crossbow for shield for sword and board. Just figured it was reasonably reasonable. And yes, I could go for the revive here, but I want him to go finish off this other ninja. Pop. And yeah, he's running Brynhildr entirely for the purpose of having a free resurrection. He poisons stuff, he outlasts stuff. It's my favorite knight build. It's like, it's just my bread and butter favorite way to use a knight. And like when I hear folks say that they fall off in endgame, like, yeah, no, they got an absolutely perfect use through Palace of the Dead, San Bronza, Coda, all of that kind of thing. When stuff's all up in your face all the dang time, you're gonna want that kind of stuff around, because you're realistically not hitting everything from a million miles away all the time. Alright, let's do a Tremendous over here. Probably just finish off that dragon down there. He's a blue, so he should be reasonably fine. I mean, we could do that. And we could use our damage bonus versus that lizard, though. Snake Lady go poof. There we go. That'll do. Not to mention, you can also combine them in interesting ways. So, for example... Actually, I should probably show this after the fight, because it's almost done. But like some of the nuttiest damage that you can get involves taking a taking a archer and doing something like putting a Dragon Slayer set on them, putting the water bow or a crossbow on them, and then combining that in with like a Tremendous shot, a double shot, and a Dragon Slayer, and then like just throwing a meat at a dragon, and like even endgame dragons with their ridiculous armor will end up getting melted by that. Like, legitimately, that and Vartan are probably the two best actual, like, dragon-killing units out of the box when it comes to endgame stuff. Like, even summons will plink off of a lot of those endgame units, but then you take a combination like that and you suddenly have a one-shot kill on them, you know? Even like, high-end, Dragoons and stuff like that will have a hard time achieving that level of damage, mostly because they're, like, pulling most of their hits from themselves. But stacking that many things on top of it, you can easily just, again, create more or less a 50 cal archer, if you will. Feels like a weird way to describe it, but it's kind of how it feels. Right now we're just kind of running a lot of general purpose units for the purpose of just clearing out POTD and stuff like that. A lot of these are just units that I wanted to use for the hell of it. Crushing damage like that. What crushing? Why is that a thing lately? Like, lately there's been this thing over, like, damage type being super important for some reason. Physical damage type doesn't... It's not a... all the physical types are just physical. That stuff's just flavor. Like, for example, it's actually funny because people used to assume this for PSP too. But yeah, like, when it came to crushing types, hammers just did more in that one because hammers had a higher attack penetration. It was nothing to do with them being crushing or piercing or whatever else. It was just they had a higher crushing thingy. Or they had a higher penetration. due to attack score and stuff like that. I was going for a stun on the dragon for the hell of it. Alright. No revives on hand. We just need one more tap on that one over there, and we're good to go. So let's go ahead and finish off you, I'm thinking. Pop. There we go. There's a random fly flying. Don't you dare get near my coffee, Mr. Fly. I don't even know how you got down here. Rude. Fly's coming after my dang coffee. That's unacceptable. Yeah, I was hoping to get Resurrection 2 out of San Bronza, but, you know, sometimes it don't be like that. I was planning to go back and do another visit to that place in a minute. Anyway, let's get our archer back up. But yeah, I'll show off what I mean about the archers in just a moment here. Because a lot of your crazy, nutty bonuses come from just stacking a bunch of things over and over and over. Like right now, like this, right here, where his defenses are just normal, he's not really doing very much, he's only getting a little bit through, right? But as you saw with Fear earlier, as soon as Fear hit, he was hitting in like 300-400s. As soon as Breach hits, now they're hitting 500-600s. Now you can quadruple that courtesy of their skills, and now you can essentially multiply that by something like a Dragon Slayer bonus, and that's how you go from, you know, generic nobody archer going and doing like 70-80 damage, going up to 27,000 over the course of a few debuffs. So you compare the last two whip finishers, it's a consistent relationship throughout the game. It might be a consistent thing, but again, it's not from the crushing thing itself. So the last two finishers, it's not because they're crushing, it's because Armageddon has like double the attack penetration of all the other ones. That stuff was data mined. I think Recession might have had the like the full numbers listed up somewhere. But it's literally something like it adds a secondary score to your attacks. So the way generally that it works is that anything with a multi-hit is usually going to have less of a penetration thing to it, or something with an element will be also getting an elemental bonus. Usually they'll be increasing in attack penetration as they go to the right. Armageddon off of whips and Overwhelm from daggers are the two highest by far. As far as why this one was doing so well, again, it's nothing to do with the fact that it's crushing. It's just due to the fact that he's getting an elemental bonus, on top of the fact that the unit was hit by Fear, which means that it had practically no defense, which meant that this got to show off its kind of true numbers, so to speak. So now suddenly, instead of being, you know, like just 1-1-1, now it's suddenly going up to, you know, up to 1,000-ish. So yeah, temple recipes are guaranteed random. Gotten one from the first temple and two from the second. The recipe drops are guaranteed this time around. Let's go ahead and save there. Let's go to the next one. Why do you prefer a team comp oriented style of this game over something more focused on individual power? You mentioned something that like that in your last summary. I mean, it's more fun and generally more effective. All right. Oh yeah, this is I love this map. So this is the one that I was talking about. That you get swarmed with birds. Like look at this nutty setup right here. Okay. So you got all of these birds over here. All of these upgraded birds. Like this is why I keep resist Petrify in many of those units. These three fly up. They will always act first. These three go up. They land right within the aura for these two right here to go give them Empower. These two fly up. They land right within this guy's aura to get Empower. Then they proceed to take the next turn to fly up over here, at which point the ninjas catch up, at which point they all hit you at once. Like, I love that absolutely evil setup there. Alright, so, first and foremost, we are going to want a big melty over here. So, let's see. Spy Cashwa is going to sneak down the side. We're going to want two Terranites this time around. Elrig can stay. Murden can go and sit aside for now so that I can have a 2 TK setup. We're going to want multiple casters for this one, I think. Let's see. I always forget whether this thing was given the anatomy bonus or a or Dragon Slayer bonus, because I was messing around with two versions at different times. This is like the worst version of a cursed weapon that you can get, but I just found it funny. Alright. So, let's not bring him, though. Okay, we got them two. I'm kind of thinking 3 clerics might be order of the day here. Either 3 clerics or 3 liches. Or actually a ninja, because there's going to be a lot of poison needed. Because we're going to want some stop. We're gonna want some splashes for dealing with those annoying ones. Songstress should handle a lot of our problems. A lot of these guys are going to be running A lot of these are going to be people. So we can switch over to Brimstone for you. Let's go swap out for that real quick. There we go. Nice, happy, big, meaty bonus. Probably switch over to Fire for additional penetration here. There we go. Alright. Doop-de-doop-de-doo. That's all well and good. You're good, you're good, you're good. You need items, though. As in, I want you to have... Oh, man, I am almost out of dodges. Okay, that's not good. Okay, we're going to put a mead on you, then. I'm going to want to save some of those meads for later. I apparently just burned through all my items and didn't even notice. Fantastic. Good stuff. Need to maybe not burn through as many of those. Oh, by the way, fun synergy if you didn't know this, but shots, like, as good as they can also be used for punching things. So, like, we're going to go ahead and swap out some of this stuff right here, but Phalanx will actually block the effects of certain other things. So, for example, conflagration shots, if you're going and just straight up punching something with a grenade, it's going to, you know, still allow you to give yourself additional armor using that particular situation. It's kind of handy, you know? Alright, just get a slightly improved shield on you. Yeah, these items are going to be good enough. You're probably going to be good enough, although we're going to go ahead and give you a revive, because I forgot I restocked on those. It's kind of assuming I don't have any revives over and over. In fact, you should probably get one too, just in case, because this one's going to get pretty weird. It's actually one of those cases where it's really handy if you happen to have picked up something along the lines of a sacrifice. Let's see, where's the strengthen at? Am I out of strengthens? No. Okay. Perfect. And that should do right there. Let's see, been thinking, if you want a Dark Fair Familiar, can't remember offhand if the Ogre Blade carries over your element. I don't believe so. Anybody know? Let's see. Let's see. My team right now is Buccaneer Denim, Ranger Vice, 3 White Knights, Canopus Ring Fencer, Generic Velk, Ozma Dark Priest, and Matriarch. Wherever there are 12 slots, use Generic Fusilier and Warrior/Dragoon Generic. I mean, that'll work. That'll do the trick for you. There, not where. Why not where? Why not when? If not how? But if yes. Alright. Alright, so what I'm trying to do here is I want Ninja over here off to the side. Hopefully only dealing with splashes. That should give enough to be able to have the support unit supporting properly. There's going to be a few cards that will spawn here or there, but mostly I want to have the two clerics split up, because inevitably if we get hit by chickens or if we get hit by stuns, that's going to be a problem. The idea is to send Spy Cashua down the stairs to go deal with the Tamers as soon as possible. Until then, we basically use Escalating Senate to more or less tank stuff indefinitely. Let's see. It doesn't. Fair enough. If it did, we'd all have Dark Element Pumpkin Staffleys. Yeah, true. It's hard to undersell the true evil, but what can you do, right? Any darn ways. So actually that doesn't make sense, but the point stands, you get the element of your target when you use it. You don't keep your own. Yep. Makes sense, you adopt their religion. Totally. I can understand that. Like, it's funny that it's one of those cases of a framing device that kind of makes sense, but also kind of doesn't. Because it's like, oh, hang on, I gotta go change my religion real quick. Just, like, leaves and comes back with a new Bible. It's fun. Anyway, we're gonna pop this guy over here. Now, if you're wondering what's gonna go nutty with his numbers, just to explain again with, like, the deal with the archers, it's like, they just get the most bonuses. They scale higher, not technically, it's more like this number over here be big, so, you know, they can accomplish bigger numbers, but once they get past defenses, they will basically hit harder than melee units for a little bit. Eventually, melee takes over in terms of highest maximum possible hit, but they kind of just have this bubble where they just burst past defense and they get a huge amount of burst, if that makes sense. Alright. Let's see, also I have a Lich generic, but since she was Galgaston, she hates me for getting the treasure. Well, screw you too, lady. I want to be a lawful pirate, and your hate won't die. It's not lawful piracy, it's called being in narcotics. That's how it is. Or however that goes. Alright. Let's Go ahead and target in that direction. Just whack this guy off a cliff, I guess. Just get all of the liches going. Probably give some additional MP to the cleric, just in case we need a backup plan here. Send the Terror Knights up to do their whole thingamashtick. Now, my hope here is to be able to make it down to the Heaven General there and hopefully end it there, but if it ends up getting cut short a little bit before that, then it does. I mean, it just kind of... today is more of a test, as it were. Alright. But yeah, out of curiosity, for any of the newer folks that had shown up, have any of you happened to have heard where allegedly some folks got a Dark Fairy from? Like, again, a lot of them tend to be in slightly off the beaten path areas. Like, I feel like there must be one that spawns, or at least some kind of unique unit that spawns somewhere in, like, one of the Heaven General fights or something. It just... I really doubt that they would have missed something like that, you know? Feels like a pretty obvious given. There we go. Let's just have him chew some leaves so that he burns stuff with poison a little bit better as they continue ticking away on those moss tiles down there. Right, Spy Cashua goes in, and I really want to block this tile. Actually, yeah, no, that's a perfect opportunity, because we can just go ahead and block this tile. They can't do anything in return. So we block this off. Now they won't be able to get their ground units up for the most part. They might be able to get some ninjas up somewhere, but it just screws up their movement just by having her down there. You know, due to Stinky Set, they're not going to really know what to do about that. So, hopefully they should clump up, at which point we have the Hydra go down, do the whole poison thing. That should allow for burning away a lot of things in that direction. Silence shouldn't affect his breath. I'm not too worried about that. By the way, if you ever want absolute confusion over how your controls work, make sure to try switching between Switch and PC. It'll definitely do the trick. Let's see, every so often I feel like I should write up a detailed Ogre Blade or Impossible Element guide for GameFAQs, but I'm sleepy and that sounds like a lot of work. Yep, not to mention, no matter what you end up writing, somebody's going to be pissed off about it. So there's that element of it too. It's like just second-guessing every day. As somebody shows up, says that all impossible elements are actually impossible, and how dare you spread misinformation or something. And then you go and prove it, and they're like, no, this is just photoshopped or something. Like, why? Why are you like this? I mean, totally not coming from personal experience or anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Alright, let's go ahead and continue on. I was going to have him collect this physical up card, but we're doing fine, so I guess we're just not going to do that. And instead, we're going to poisonify this bird, so that we don't have to fight it. And if you're wondering, by the way, there's no meta to why she's carrying a sai around. It's just her combat fork. It's just funny. There's no other reason. It's just funny. It's just funny to see her parry stuff with a fork. Like, her finishers still work just fine. Her basic attacks are mostly just for poisoning stuff. It's funny. It's just good times. Okay. Alright, she hasn't rolled her concentration yet, so no point in trying any of that. Let's just go ahead and bonk this guy with a hammer, I guess. A little bit of a bad exchange, but that'll be perfectly fine. You also have not rolled your thing. How dare you? Might as well just eat this bird a little bit. It's mild enjoyment of chicken wings. Alright. And yeah, this is why Songstress ends up kind of making a lot of Palace of the Dead easier, because a lot of times it's dealing with rush-down tactics and stuff like that. And when you can simply just decide that you're, you know, you're just regenerating health for the first few rounds, it's pretty easy to deal with. It's the only thing I can think of was someone using Cheat Engine on the PC version and changing an element. I mean, maybe, but that being said, it's just... Why a fairy? It just seems like somebody would have picked something cooler if they were deliberately going and cheating, you know? It's like one of those things that's fun to joke about just because, you know, it's kind of a lame unit, but it's just hilarious to make it overpowered. I know there was a little bit of a discussion for a little bit, over whether or not it was a bug that the Virtuous Dance didn't do bonus damage or something, which, like, why the hell would it do bonus damage? I was told to say that it was a bug, but it doesn't feel like a bug to me. That just feels like, why the hell would it do damage? It's frickin' Virtuous Dance. It's never really done damage. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Now let's go ahead and get his phalanx going so that he can grenade punch his way through this place. I'm hoping that was one of the dogs running around, otherwise we might have to end it a little bit early today, unfortunately. Hopefully it was one of the dogs. We'll see. We'll see. See, is there some way with the Steam version of Reborn to change a character's species? I've been wishing I had a way to set up an all-gremlin run, but you get gremlins so late. Yeah, there is. So yeah, Cheat Engine does work with Reborn. Modders have figured out a whole bunch of different things. Remind me on Discord, I'll send you a link. But there's an entire thing dedicated to it. You can set up all kinds of stuff. That's how I was planning to hopefully be able to set up the All Griffin for Reborn. I mean, granted, it could just do it naturally by just going into Chapter 2 and just starting all of them at Chapter 2, aside from, like, SNES. Which SNES was more just spending a whole lot of time waiting for the right month to come up to finally be able to recruit them from the store in order to get optimal disappointment at that point, but, you know, it is what it is. Alright, let's go ahead and paradigm shift over in this direction. Get some free turns, or at least one free turn, I guess. Got the concentration. Do we get the fear? We did not get the fear. Mr. Divold, what is your problem? Are you defective? Stun, please? No stun. Oh well. Worth a shot. See, I mentioned this before in my previous run. Ogre Bladed a fairy, gave it a Dragon Fang dagger, and Stinky Set, as well as Fearful Impact, Lament of the Dead. It was a hell of fun. Oh yeah, I mean, that's just basically guaranteed mind control and poison and everything else. Nothing can go wrong at that point. I'm gonna hit this thing with slow so that it almost moves at the speed of a, you know, only a supersonic jet. And I love that this is the most mild version of the birds, too. Like, again, you have to realize how many comments there were over, especially in the early months, where folks had, like, used Cheat Engine or something like that and figured, oh, I can farm stats indefinitely, and so they'll give, like, a random, you know, shaman or something 800 intelligence, and they're like, well, here you go, this is a totally normal thing to expect. I can totally one-shot every single bird on this map. It's like, yeah, but also using summons on these things, you're going to hit, like, even with tier 2s, it's like 7 or 800s, that's still going to take 3 rounds. Like, why am I supposed to believe this? Anyway, neither here nor there. But, seems like a gremlin familiar with TK abilities, so you can have Lament of the Dead, plus Fearful, plus a Gonal Scream, just tons of... Yeah, that's fun. Let's create the ultimate spooky bat. Apparently the cat has decided to loudly sing on the other end of this door here. They're a little bit upset at the moment, because unfortunately, one of them, I know which one, but not going to name them by name, has decided to go and start just randomly peeing on things. So we're trying to deal with that at the moment. So they all gotta be sort of isolated from the others now. Eh. It's a bit of a bummer. Hi there, Ashik. Nice to meet you. FF Tactics is better? Nah. I love FFT, but not gonna be hearing that around here. The triangle strategy, I mean, I do agree. Yeah, fair point, fair point. But at that point, we're just playing limbo to clear that low bar. What's up with you, cat? I don't know what the cat's issue is right now. Apparently, they're just deciding to be funny like that. It's a bit curious. Would you recommend doing the neutral route first just to get it out of the way, or world it after Lower Chaos? Whichever one you feel like. Realistically, any route you can go back to collect any characters you'd like. Just go with your gut. That's just the most fun way to play. Alright. It's taking a while for this guy's phalanx to trigger, so screw it. We're just grenade punching stuff. There we go. That looks pretty good. And they're all regenerating anyway, so who cares? We're just clearing maps. Oh, now your Lament wants to go. Alright. See how it's going to be. See how it is. Let's go ahead and drop a convenient little 600 on you. Fantastic. And let's see, we got our Tremendous. He doesn't have his Engulf going right now. Can he reach that card? Not quite. Might actually be worth just saving this turn to buff instead. Actually, he's going to have enough to do a little bit more next round. Actually, you can drop this one into kill territory. Just do that. There we go. Let's pick up that card with you in a moment. You never want to stand right next to a card that you want to pick up, because the AI will inevitably attack you there. It's not that they're programmed to attack you, they just... Oh, there we go. Like right there, they're setting up to go and hit the cleric as soon as they can. So you're doing neutral first time, because this feels like the most realistic choice for a confused 19-year-old teenager to make, indecisive, then use the chaos system to gradually make better decisions. Yeah. Makes sense to me. Alright. Go ahead and eat this dude. By the way, side note for anyone that never noticed, Palace of the Dead blue enemies have unique names. As in, like, they have their own language, apparently. Because these names will not pop up anywhere else. They just have weird alternate versions of all these different names down here. That wasn't the case in PSP. I double-checked. What on earth? Yeah, something's definitely going on upstairs. That is concerning. Let's see, Sherry lamenting Fear Immortals, the bitch daughter of the floor. Yeah, she really gives off Valley Girl vibes. Oh my god, you guys. You stole my cell phone. How are the party details on there? Alright. Right, what do we want to do here? Do we just Fear Orb this mess? Just clear it out super quick? Nah, that's a waste. I guess you just sit still then. You do that. See, I like doing neutral chaos, then law, kept law last for Coda Anchor Point. Yeah, I did neutral my first time through, did chaos, then neutral, then law for this particular one, though it's still currently on chaos. Actually, yeah, I think I went back and finished it off on... What the hell did I finish? No, it is neutral, I think. I think this one is on neutral timeline. Just to give Diebold a outro. And then was doing a thing on Deneb there, and then I don't think I ever ended up posting the thing on Deneb. And ultimately, yeah, somehow we wound up on neutral. There's an easy way to check. Where the hell is he? We're on law. Apparently we're on law. Good to know. It was just completely wrong. Just forget all of that information. The information does not exist. It cannot hurt you. As long as Kashu's alive, it's all well and good. Then you can proceed to do the other stuff. Here, let's go this way. These guys are probably going to want more juice in a little bit. Let's go ahead and use some Airbask. Get everybody all up to scratch. Get our ninja poisoning that chicken down there so we don't have to deal with its shenanigans for too long. There we go. Blowgun poison on you. Steel stance would have been nice, but that's fine. A rock to the face is an acceptable alternative. Man, it feels so modest that they're only throwing around seeds all of a sudden instead of men's salves. It feels so weird to go from Sand Bronze to down here. Like, you go into Sand Bronze and by the end of it they're just like, yeah, hold on, we need to bring orbs, we need to bring full heals, we need to bring grenades, like, we need to bring all this stuff. Like, you show up in Sand Bronze, you get those moments where you get instantly petrified by multiple chickens and they're suddenly throwing grenades from every angle. Like, just... Yeah, everyone's laughing until the frickin' sky starts speaking angel. Anyway, carrying on. Do. Neat. All right. Does evade block the second hit of Rending Gale? Evade will block the entire hit. Basically, Rending Gale, what's its face? Spiral Scourge, Death Whale, what's the other one? I literally just used it. Trinity Pulse, all of them things count as one attack. Technically speaking. It's like, it kind of does, it kind of doesn't. Also a nice 99% chance to hit there. So I'm thinking probably nuking over in this direction might be the way to go. Doesn't quite finish it off, though. Might be worth actually just going for the health suck in this case. That's going to be doing some pretty acceptable numbers. It's one of those fun little synergies that fear boosts your health drain. Kind of a no-duh kind of moment, but it's just useful. See, neutral weirdly feels like the nexus point for getting Lord. Honestly, I just love the tragedy of it. Like, you just have this situation where everybody in that one route achieves everything that they wanted to achieve, and it all goes wrong anyway. Like, that they achieve what they wanted to achieve, but it's not what they actually wanted. It's just a nice little monkey's paw moment, you know? It feels like a Twisted Metal ending. That's what that route feels like. Like, they all won the tournament, they all showed up like, hey guys, we agreed to a truce, and then they all turn up dead. It's just interesting. Alright. Neutral, because you've been too happy lately. Fair enough. Though, admittedly, it's one of those cases where, like, growing up, I always, whenever I had Legos and whatever else, literally that's always how it went. Just, like, everything went tragically wrong at the last minute for no apparent reason. Don't ask. I was just a weird kid like that. Alright. Let's go ahead and finish you off. But see what I mean about that looking like a Bloodborne move? It absolutely feels like a Bloodborne move. She's running around with God knows how many bullets in her pockets. Alright. Let's go ahead and drop you real quick. No real major bonuses on this guy. I might as well go pick up this card. Which actually one little movement tech thing, by the way. So like in this case, it's 2 tiles away, so you just move only 2 tiles to move slightly faster to go pick up that card sooner. It doesn't always help, but it helps often enough to be worth considering. Alright. It's going to be a couple down. So you can't seem to ever do anything but chaos in my first run of Ogre Battle games. Understandable. I mean, it is a very natural feeling route most of the time. Neutral, because your family tree does include recursion, it's time to meet the Outlaws. Oh no. I feel like they were given more dialogue in this one. I might be completely wrong in that, but I feel like they were. We can just pressure world this. Because yeah, if that kills, that opens. That's a nice solid combo right there. Yeah, we got the Enfeeble, we got the Whack, we got the MP Reach. Oh, yep. There is definitely stuff going on up there. I will need to be cutting it short then, but this was a good little test for what's to come in the future. Again, I'm planning to do all of the... Good lord, what the hell is all that? We're going to be doing the Griffin stuff. Eventually we'll be doing, you know, level 1 again, all of that kind of stuff. Down the road. Still kind of figuring out how to do all that scheduling-wise, but you know how it goes. So... y'all have yourselves a good one. Sorry for the kind of abrupt end to this whole thing, but, you know, gotta go dad. So, let's see. So one thing I've noticed with Reborn is how far they spaced out the in-battle dialogue compared to the PSP version. Have they? I mean, I feel like they made it a little bit faster, if anything, but could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe this is definitely the best developed antagonist. Yeah, that dude's voice really works this time around. Anyway, so, I gotta get going again. Sorry for the abrupt end there. Y'all have yourselves a good one. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Later.